vessel, as well as the vessel itself is Coast Guard certified. So you are in good hands, don't worry. Also, there are life jackets downstairs by the exit and on the buffet tables, as well as multiple life rings and life rafts. There are fire extinguishers at every exit, and we have a VHF radio that keeps us in constant communication with the Toronto Police Marine Unit, which is that building, that grey building over there with the green roof. And they can send a fleet of boats out into the harbour in a matter of minutes. So don't worry, guys. You are safe and in good hands. If you're still feeling a little stressed out about being on a boat, you can come and see me on my break and I'll give you a nice Coors Light. Which is a beer, if anyone doesn't have that. In where are they from? So the body of water we are in right now is known as the Toronto Harbour, and at its deepest point it reaches 40 feet in depth, which is pretty shallow for a harbour. So when we get a cold winter here in Toronto, which we usually always do, it tends to freeze over completely. But we have icebreaker boats so that we can stop the ferries coming to and from the islands. The Toronto Harbour, however, is part of a much larger body of water, and that is Lake Ontario. And Lake Ontario is one of North America's Great Lakes, because it's so great, and it is 800 feet in depth, so it never freezes over completely. Yeah, I know. If you do the lake coming up without a jacket, you're going to get so warm down there, but not a good call. We need like a hole in the roof right here. Just bask in the sun. If you guys were thinking of being rebellious and doing a swan dive off the edge of the boat, I wouldn't, because the water is actually very cold here. It reaches an average temperature of 15 degrees Celsius, and that's even after a sweltering hot summer. So it wouldn't be fun for any of us. We wouldn't want a Titanic situation on our hands. So how many people in the house are from Europe? Yeah? Woo! How many people from South America? No? What about Asia? Nice, nice. What about North America? Nice. The United States, more specifically? Nice, nice. Canada? Nice. Australia? Nice, nice. New Zealand? No. Mexico? Nice, cool. The Caribbean? Africa? No? What was your none of the above? Oh, I'm out of this world. Yeah, you could have used that joke. Maybe Johnny Depp's board there. Nope, no those are like So to the right of the boat, you'll notice an airport, and that is known as the Billy Bishop Airport. And that was actually named after a famous Canadian pilot who fought in the First World War named Billy Bishop. And he was actually Canada's flying ace and was so brave that he was awarded an award for bravery given by the British monarchy called the Victoria Cross. So we named an airport after him. He was very loved amongst Canadians and was actually brought home from the war early because they didn't want him to die and to undermine the war efforts. This base actually used to be used to train young Norwegians to fight in France, but is now an airport. And it's home to our airline, Porter Airlines, which is an airline that runs commuter flights to places like Halifax, Ottawa, Montreal, Chicago, New York, places that aren't too far away. And it's very nice because they actually have a lounge where you can have free food and drinks before you get on your flight. So it's really the only time I ever go early for a flight is when I'm flying Porter. And I don't even work for them, it's true. Also, all of their planes are propeller driven, so they don't disturb anyone living along the waterfront or on the islands, and they have an 11 p.m. curfew as well. I'm like trying not to get the wind in the microphone because it's so obnoxious for people downstairs. So you'll see that the captain is craftily taking us around these white buoys, and these are marking a restricted zone. This zone is restricted because it is right near the landing strip for the airport, so if a boat were to go in there, it would be toast. Wouldn't be fun. There's actually a $10,000 charge if you're in there, so we're going to avoid that today. See, I don't know, because I've actually been halfway over the buoy in a kayak. Not by choice, but it gets a little windy here, and I didn't get caught, so I guess not. And I've actually seen kayaks in there for like 10 seconds, and they were cool, but I don't know what the rules are. It has to be like 5 minutes in there, or what? $1,000 per minute, maybe? So we are approaching the Toronto Islands, and these are actually 14 naturally formed islands that were all attached to the mainland by a peninsula at one point. But in 1858, there was an epic storm here in Toronto that wiped away all the land attaching them and created what we now call the Eastern Gap. So if anyone ever says to you, I'm going to the islands, or I went to the Toronto Islands,